Where is Paul these days?
He's in the back room back there, yeah. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. This is the Town of Somers Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. The date is December 19th, 2023. Denise, would you please take the roll?
Ms. DiPolito,
Present.
Mr. Hardin,
Here.
Mr. Newman,
Here.
Chairman Canestra.
Here.
Thank you.
I'd request everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, that weight of that jacket took it over. Yep. Okay. Okay, good evening, everyone. The first item on the agenda this evening is that of Elton and Jennifer Paul. This is an application to renew a special exception use permit as a new owner for an existing accessory apartment attached to an existing one-family dwelling in an R40 district at 8 Old Croton Falls Road, Somers. I believe our applicant might be online with us?
Not yet.
Not yet?
So, yep.
I believe this applicant is calling in from overseas. All right, so we're going to put that on hold for now. The second item on our agenda this evening of Perry Nakaj, that item has been adjourned to the February 20th meeting, which is 2 months from now, and that item will be renoticed. That's an application for a variance for an existing roof over a front porch to an existing one-family dwelling in an R10 district at 16 Wright Road, Yorktown Heights. As I mentioned, adjourned to the February meeting. So we're going to go to the third item on the agenda, that of Thomas and Vanessa Janik. Is someone here to represent the applicant? Yes. Okay, if you could please come up, sir, give us your name and address. Let me just read this. This is an application for a variance and a special exception use permit to construct an accessory apartment in a new accessory structure built prior to April 1, 1992 to an existing dwelling in an R40 residential district at 51 Raymont Road, Granite Springs. Sir, if you could just describe, can you give us your name and address first?
Yes, Tom Janik. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
The address is 51 Raymont Road in Granite Springs. We recently put in a pool. What we're looking to do is put in front of the pool an accessory dwelling for my mother-in-law to live in, to help her out a little bit. Alongside the property in front of the pool, as like a one-bedroom structure. The house has a 5-bedroom septic. It's a 4-bedroom, so we wanted to tie it into the existing septic tank. Basically follow all the other parameters within the R40 district, in terms of distance from property lines, from the rear, as well as the main structure. I believe I submitted all the paperwork that's you see in front of you. I have a couple additional pictures. If you would like, give them to you as well. So this way, show you an idea of where the structure would be.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the property. I see your driveway comes off Raymont Road.
Correct.
Your driveway is on the, guess that would be
the west side.
Yeah, west side of the property. House is then to the left. Okay. This structure, is this then to further left of your home? Is that where it is?
It would be along the east end of the home. Yes.
Now, is this a structure that's already built?
No.
Oh, it would be built.
Correct.
Okay.
And the pool was installed recently?
Yes. I just picked up the C of O today for it.
Okay. Because one of the issues with accessory apartments is that the structure be built, I believe, Tom, it's prior to 1992?
Yeah.
Yes, and that's why we were seeking the variance.
Okay.
The structure was built in 72 or 73.
The original,
My original structure.
Original structure.
So Tom had explained to me that if it was attached to the structure, I didn't need the variance. but we would just prefer to have it as a standalone unit along the side.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
sorry,
yeah, no, go ahead, Tom.
that part of the code applies to, it's not simply that primary residence was built prior to 1992. It's that whatever structure the accessory apartment is contained in, right?
Yeah, you can have an apartment within the principal dwelling or an accessory building if it received a permit prior to April 1, 1992.
Okay.
If in the past, applications have been approved to house an apartment within an addition to the principal building that was permitted after that date. That the interpretation of the board was the addition, it fell into the criteria of the original construction of the
Right.
dwelling, not the addition.
And I think, you know, for my opinion on this, I mean, the 1992 date, I think it was to discourage, you know, individuals from, let's say, building a whole new development and building, you know, basically two-family residences, you know, or building it with the mindset of having two-family residences on every lot. You know, that's the way I kind of look at this, that it was the code limited it to prior to 1992. Yeah, if this was part of the original structure, I don't think I'd have an issue with it, but I do have a little bit of a concern about building a second building with a apartment. Okay. I see in addition to the site plan, we have a second drawing. I assume that this is the drawing of what
Oh,
be in the accessory apartment.
yeah, I met with Tom and Denise prior just to get their idea and like, you know, familiar myself with it. You know, this is just a preliminary thing that I drew up, like generic, like if it was approved, then we'd go to the architect and have like go through the whole process of have everything finalized and approved. But that was just because the structure had to be between 300 and 800 square feet. Uh, you know, and within the parameters of the property lines and so forth. So I just drew up a general plan of what was done at their suggestion.
Okay. What's the square footage of what's proposed here?
Uh,
28 times 28,
yes, correct. It's like 742, I believe.
740, 740.
Okay. Hey, keep in mind, even if you were not asking us for a separate structure, all accessory apartments have to be approved by us
Okay.
for a permit. So
Yeah.
even if it was in the house, you'd still have to come before us for that. So
Yes.
that's kind of a, just so you're aware of that. Yeah. Other questions from the board at this time, or any other discussions we want to have regarding this?
I mean, it's, yeah, there's, I don't know, it's a little bit of a tough one, right? It seems, it certainly seems reasonable for the purpose, that's outlined here. And that's why we have accessory apartments, right?
I just
And this
don't
is-
know if we're setting a precedent here, because we've never approved one of these before like this. I mean, this basically then is opening the door to anyone who has an original structure built prior to 1992, the April 1, 1992 date, that they can now go and build a separate structure on their property with an accessory apartment. I'm not sure that was the intent of the code.
Yeah, I mean, this is West Somers Park,
Correct. Yes.
which is, you know, certainly not as dense as, say, a Rock or Lincolndale, but, you know,
Yeah.
it's 1 acre lots, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, R40 zone, so 40,000 square.
And, you know, once we grant this variance, it runs with the property. So
Yep.
future owners, this could be a rental unit at some point. Well, at any point, really. We know your plans are to use it for family, and that makes a lot of sense. And we do have to consider what it might be used for down the line too. That's what makes it a little bit.
Yeah. I just think we're allowing anybody with a home built prior to 1992 to build a one-bedroom apartment on their property.
Yeah, what's the distance between the primary residence and, 15 feet? Is that what I see there?
It looks like about 15 feet,
Yes,
the measurement says,
it had to be a minimum of 10.
and he's off his property line by 20 feet.
So,
And
According to this drawing.
Yeah.
And it could only be like, it could be no closer than 15 feet to the property
Right.
line, correct?
hey, Tom, so for someone, so if this were an addition to the primary, then it would fall under would be compliant with the 1992 code.
It would be a different application.
Right.
And the board, would consider that
Right.
on its merit.
And previous boards have, which I would tend to agree with, have said it, if it's an addition to the original structure, which was built prior to 1992, I would agree it becomes part of the original, how have you considered that? Given that it's so close to the house anyway?
Yes, but that requires more moving of utility. It just seemed easier without that addition.
How,
Because then it's like moving heat inside the house, moving utilities along the side of the house, where the well comes in, if it's dug up, like, for the footing of the well, like for the water line coming in from the well. So there was just those issues, and the pool plumbing is along the side there as well. So I was trying to maintain that corridor because a lot of that stuff would need to be moved.
what would an accessory structure, how much connection does it need to the primary residence?
Separation?
No, well, so let's say, if there was a hallway in between, in other words, if they were placed as designed, but there was something connecting them, does that make it part of the principle?
Yeah, the code speaks to that. I don't have that in front of me. It talks about a breezeway. I don't have that with me, that language.
I'm just wondering if there are creative ways.
Well, he could certainly put a breezeway in there between the regular, if he wanted to.
The code speaks to that. It says an accessory may be connected to a principal by a breezeway, but I would have to read it. It may still be considered an accessory.
Accessory building, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a very different nature. Accessory apartment is part of the original structure. There's a different nature to the apartment. And is there anything else in this building? Is this building is as proposed? Is this building solely this one-bedroom accessory apartment? I mean, is it above a garage?
No,
It's a
it
one-story.
would be a separate structure on a slab, with like a pool bath for the pool. And because like you're saying, I know your concerns, like I've told Denise in the past, like I have no intention of ever being a landlord. That's not the intention. Like we love our property, like I said, like it's good for my mother-in-law. And then even in the future, if like we could hand the house down to one of our kids and we downsize to there, like, like that was our intention. It's not like to become a landlord or anything of that. Like,
Because I once again, I'm concerned about open door because let's take it to the extreme. Have a 10-family neighborhood with 10 homes. Every one of those homes could put up a separate structure, rent it out.
Right, which West Somers Park, and again, which we understand is not your intention.
yeah.
If everybody in West Somers Park put up a rental unit, that would change the character of the neighborhood.
Sure.
That's the one thing we're here to guard
I mean,
against.
that's what, zoning is for. It's to, protect the character of the neighborhood, protect land values,
Right.
to work within a framework where,
Right. Do you want me to give you the picture? Like, she had
Yeah,
a
sure.
question
Yeah.
about where it was,
Nice.
like.
Yep.
So,
so this new structure, this new structure would be past the
see.
fence,
it would be
right over in here.
right along the front of the property line, like, and the fence would go like, And then I would just have windows across the front, if you saw in the drawing, with a side entrance for it. So this way, and then match the columns in the front. So it just seems like a pool house in front of the,
Right. Okay.
alongside the property.
Mhm.
I'd like to see if there's any comments from anybody online. We can kind of come back to questions. Maybe we'll see. Okay, so I'm going to open this up to the public comments regarding this application. Anyone here in the audience obviously is can come up and speak in regard to the application. If anybody is watching us online, you can call into one of the numbers in the box, the white box there. Put in the Zoom meeting ID number, real simple, and then we'll bring you right online. We'll just leave the line open for like a minute or so and see if there's any questions. Is there anybody here in the audience who wishes to speak in regard to this application? No? Okay. All zoning board applications, notices are given to the neighbors.
Yes.
Radius,
Yep.
so, that I know has been done.
Yep.
So people are informed of it, so they can come
Yes,
on and speak,
course.
or they can come here to the meeting and speak in regard to it. All right, while we're waiting, any further comments from the board? Melissa, did you have any comments in regard to this application?
Yeah, I agree with what both you and Tom have said about the date being set by the code in 1992 and this creating a precedent that could create an undesirable change. I also think looking even at some of the other factors from the 5-factor analysis test, that this really is a self-created hardship that is pretty substantial in nature for the requested relief being sought. So I think those lend to finding another alternative to achieve the desired result.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm concerned with the application as proposed. It's kind of a hard to swallow, so to speak. Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. Denise or Paul, are we getting anyone calling online to comment in regard to the application?
No.
Okay. Last call for anybody in the audience wishes to speak in regard to the application. Okay. Further discussions from the board? Any comments? So did you have anything to say further before we vote on the application?
No, I mean, that's, as I presented it to Tom and Denise before, it's, that's basically what I was looking to do.
Okay.
Like, I knew, they made me
So
a
if-
process.
If you move this whole thing over and attached it to the house, hypothetically,
Yes,
Can't guarantee that would be approved. But
can't guarantee that it'd be approved, but it'd probably be pretty easy.
okay,
The only thing we're arguing about is that little space between your house and the new house.
yes, correct.
Seems odd to argue about that small piece of land. But my colleagues here have already pointed out that, strange as it may seem, we'd be setting a precedent
Sure.
that
Oh, yeah.
could be applied in a lot of places.
Yeah, I mean, we would, it would be tough to grant, even, let's say let's say in a house that was built after 92 and someone wanted to put in an accessory apartment in that house, which would not be in the code, that would be even, we'd struggle with that decision in and of itself. For it to be,
That's in there.
for it to be.
in the house built after 19.
Would still be,
Yeah.
not, that it'd still be iffy. For a brand new structure, it's just a tough one for us. I mean, I like your intent. I like what you're trying to do here. But I don't know if we can get past that just on the precedent.
I mean, if we approve it for you, if 500 people come in and ask for the same thing, I mean, what's the basis then for, and each application would have to be judged on its merits, but one would argue, well, if you proved it for this person, why don't you prove it for us? And
Right.
we have a cascading effect.
So if that's the result, I hope that maybe there's another creative way that you can.
Yeah, I mean, it's like our first, attempt, and if there's other ways that we could do it, like we're trying to do it in the best way that makes everybody happy, basically.
How would the board feel about attaching that new building to the existing building?
Plan would have,
Supposing he attached it with a walkway.
plan has to be provided, but it's not,
Yeah.
I don't know that, I don't know that it's part of the structure. I'm not sure a walkway or even a breezeway would make it part of the structure.
Yeah, it would have to, I mean, the code, you'd have to do it to code to make it part of the principal building.
And then I think also too, we'd have to, figure out or determine, I think, that how substantial this is, that the renovation is only for that, how big is it compared to the primary I know we're speculating. I don't know. I think we're going beyond. I think this application is before us. This is what we should vote on at this point in time. And then, the applicant will have to decide, how he wants to proceed going forward. Okay, I think it's time to vote. Can I have a motion as a type of action?
Type 2.
Second,
Ms. DiPolito,
Aye.
Mr. Hardin,
Aye.
Mr. Newman,
aye.
Chairman Canestra.
Aye. Can we have a motion as to whether we're going to grant the variance regarding this application or deny it?
I'll make a motion to deny the request.
I will
Second.
second that.
Ms. DiPolito,
Aye.
Mr. Hardin,
Aye.
Mr. Newman,
Aye.
Chairman Canestra.
Aye.
Thank you.
Sorry, sir, your application's been denied.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Sorry. Okay, we're going to go to the next item on the agenda this evening. This is the application of Rudolph Ten Pao. This is an application for a special exception use permit to construct an accessory apartment in an existing carriage house to an existing dwelling in an R80 residential district at 2546 Mohansic Creek Road, Amawalk. I will make mention to the board that there are 3 additional applications here for Mr. Ten Pao that I'm sure everybody has at least taken a glance at before the meeting. So sir, good evening. Could you just give us your name and address, please?
Jonathan Hodash, 120 North Main Street, Suite 501, New City, New York.
Okay. And you are representing the applicant in regard to this?
Yes, I'm the architect. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right. So can you briefly describe your first application before us?
Which one is the first?
Do you have the agenda?
Oh,
I do not.
Oh,
copy of the agenda. The first item on the agenda is the application for the special. So first we go to the special exception use permit. Then we go a variance for the deck, variance to construct the garage, and then a variance to construct an addition to an existing home.
Okay.
All right, so we've got 4 items to consider here.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. The regarding the accessory structure, it is an existing accessory structure. It's a carriage house, well over 100 years old. It had previously been finished upstairs. The information we received was that quite a bit advanced, possibly some kind of accessory apartment. It has plumbing, but it's been ripped out. There's some evidence that was heating, that it's been disconnected, but still sitting there. So we're not really sure of the actual history of it.
Now, I'm looking at the plan right here. Where is the accessory apartment proposed?
So the main house is on one side and then the carriage house is here.
Several years ago, they put a right of way when they developed the subdivision.
Okay.
There's still one property with a right of way through.
Yeah, sir, if you could just have the microphone by you, I'm sorry, we've got, so everybody at home.
gotta
can hear.
record it.
Yeah, if you just point to it, we'll follow it, yeah.
Okay, so at some point they put in a subdivision. So there's a right of way that runs through the property, but it's still one piece of property.
Does that right of way run to another house?
Yes, there's other houses behind it.
There are other houses,
Yes.
okay.
So the main house is, as you can see, by the pool, and the accessory building is up by the street. That's the existing carriage house.
I see. And you are proposing the accessory apartment above the carriage house, which obviously was built before 1992.
Yes.
Okay. Tom, the accessory apartment that is recommended here, how many square feet is it?
I don't have that information. I would guess around 800 square feet.
I was gonna say, because 800 is the limit for accessory apartment.
Yeah.
So,
It's under whatever was, because we reviewed it quite a bit.
It's within the what code permits.
Yes. Yeah.
so Tom, what is the variance sought here? Is it just for approval of a special exception use permit for an accessory apartment, or is there another variance involved here? This apartment?
Believe that this one is for what you just stated, am I correct?
Yes. It's simply the use.
Right, so they have the right to put an accessory apartment in that, there's nothing else preventing them. They're just going for this, the special exception use permit.
Other than the board's determination and a permit, yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
But
course,
it meets all the other requirements. The building meets all the requirements for us, for an
Yeah.
accessory apartment.
That,
Except we don't have confirmation of square footage.
It is definitely less than the 800. We've reviewed this quite a few times with Tom, and we've gone back in the last few months.
Well, they would need a variance if it's gonna be over 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have that summary sheet we usually get, Tom.
yeah, I think that's attached to another one of the application.
Because
Yeah, this.
I thought I had seen
Little-
someplace, but
Mhm.
maybe it was attached to the wrong application.
Little confusing with multiple
Um,
applications, and the applicant decided to break them up rather than present them as one.
Right.
So
There is
yeah, we
one,
don't have the data construction.
Looking at one.
That's
It's well over 100.
Quite.
So, the
if we did approve the accessory apartment, that would be subject to all the code provisions regarding accessory apartment as far as its size and everything else.
of course, and we would make sure that whatever we submit would be under the allowable square footage.
Right.
Good.
Sure.
Tom, do we have any issue in approving the accessory apartment in what would be considered, I think, the front yard? It's an existing structure. I know when you're building existing structures in front yards, it's an issue, but I'm not sure if an existing structure adding an accessory apartment matters.
I don't interpret it to require any additional variances in that instance. It's the footprints remaining the same.
And would the accessory apartment would encompass the entire space above the carriage house
No,
garage? I was gonna say, because that has to be much bigger than 800.
right. It's only the main box of the carriage house. It was added to several times.
Okay.
There's one part that's like a one-story garage. This is only the main body under the gable roof.
Okay.
I have building elevations if you'd like to see them.
Might be a good idea.
So,
So all the construction related to this accessory apartment is within the building that's existing. We're not pushing the roof up, expanding the walls, nothing like that.
Not with this application.
That would,
Yeah.
What's the intended use for this accessory apartment?
yeah, that is a good question. What is the intended use for the accessory apartment?
he wants to use it for a guest and possibly a rental to a qualified tenant. But since he's living on the premises, Mr. Tenpal, it'll only be someone who would, he could be comfortable with, and it'd be direct supervision since he's right across the driveway.
Right, exactly.
If we could just illustrate these plans, first of all,
Why don't you just give them to us? I think.
Yeah, put them up here.
I think you'll see that the apartment is much smaller than the building as you get there.
The next one is the second floor elevation.
That's the garage level. We'll just
Take
slide
that
this-
one away for now.
Yeah, we'll just slide it over here. And this would be okay,
This is
so,
the apartment.
right, so it would just be in that one section there.
Yep.
So this is planned to be a 2-bedroom accessory apartment.
Yes,
Vic, can you just confirm for me, is that apartment proposed to be
on the second floor of the existing carriage house?
Yes.
Or, okay, thank you.
Second floor. Yep. That's what the.
Thank you.
Yeah, the first floor is a garage.
Tom, for the accessory apartment, they need two ways of egress, I believe, right? One, I see a staircase coming down,
One here.
and then I see one coming out from a deck to a deck, but then there's no steps off the deck. All right, so that'll have to be addressed.
Under the building code, there's no second.
Is there second egress?
You need one egress and you need egress from each bedroom.
Right, an emergency escape and rescue
Require 3 egresses.
under code, but it doesn't require stairs or anything. Just like a regular 2-story house.
Say egress from each bedroom, you mean like a window or something like that?
It's called an emergency escape and rescue opening. It's a minimum size window opening for egress. It's 5.7 square feet under the code.
Okay,
Yeah,
Does-
just like I said, just like a 2-story house, it'd be the same situation.
right, someone could get out that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the garage. See a
Oh,
picture.
I got a picture of it, yeah. Yeah. Like a Google Street scene, yeah. I
Yeah.
see it there.
Oh, where would this be on that picture?
Right in the center there.
Right in the center?
Yeah, right there. That's the carriage.
That's it.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. We need to see this in further.
I think this just needs. Lay out
There's no measurements on that.
what it'll look like. There's no measurement.
No, no measurements. Excuse me. There's an elevation diagram.
Yeah.
Okay, which it'll be up here. Right.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna be looking at there's gonna be an addition to this building as well.
The proposed addition, yes, is away from the house and
On the opposite side of
correct, yes,
of the street from the driveway.
yes. The proposed addition, a proposed 1-story garage addition and a proposed deck
Right,
Where
So
To the carriage house or to this?
to the carriage house,
So you're adding to the carriage house?
to the garage part. That's a separate application, yes.
Okay.
so when I look at, looks like there's 2 garage doors facing Route 35.
Well, it's a kind of strange situation. Apparently, way back when this was an actual carriage house with, I guess, with horses or whatever, there were doors facing Mahansick Creek Road. At some point, they were reversed, and those doors are there, but they don't open. They lowered the floor of the carriage house. So if you go around to the back of the carriage house where those doors are, that's where the cars go in now. But if you look at the floor plan, it's offset. There are columns. There was structural work done over the years to support it. There are columns in there. You can't get 2 cars in without scraping the mirrors because you're kind of going in at an angle. And the other little garage next to it, you see this teeny tiny. That's why he wants one decent garage to put his car in. It's just a very awkward situation right now.
So,
But it is used as a garage presently.
so to go into the garage, you're going in, you're passing the carriage house and then coming back.
Correct.
in.
Yeah, none of the doors, none of the actual working doors are face the street.
These doors, it appears on this, that there's doors facing this.
Right, because I'm figuring, how are they getting into doors, especially?
These
in
are,
a tree?
these are,
There's like a 4-foot drop inside.
Yes, okay, so it's just,
Yeah. It's just,
are you gonna leave the doors there?
yeah, they've been there forever. They're, I guess they'd be considered somewhat historic to the building, right? They've been there forever. They're the original entrance to the place. Our intention was not to change them or touch them. And our intention was also to do a minimal effect to the appearance from the street.
Okay.
yeah, so I mean, I don't in general, I don't have a problem approving a special exception use permit for an accessory apartment, provided that it be, that it meet all the code criteria for accessory apartments, less than 800 square feet, et cetera. I think that the issue, we've seen this now a lot with new accessory apartments, is that people are coming to the board to get the permit, right? But they're not going to draw necessarily full plans or have the apartment built until they know that they can get a permit. So this is where we keep running into that,
Right.
is it going to be 800 square feet? Well, it has to be, otherwise they'd have to come for another variance.
Exactly, right, right.
Is that, Melissa, am I saying that right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, no, it has to be, if we grant the special exception use, it has to be 800 square feet or less.
If we have to modify the plan internally to make it less, we'll do so to satisfy the building department.
Yeah, I think what the board's saying too is they would like to see that prior to making a determination or.
I mean, that's that's the point I was
Yeah.
bringing up in that, well, but I understand that may not be practical.
Well, the-
If, if,
I mean,
if the applicant gets a sense that the board is okay with it, they probably would further their design and return.
Right.
I mean, I don't think I have a problem if I were to approve it now, contingent upon it meeting the code, and then the applicant's gonna have to come back and is gonna have to obviously
Submit
apply
twice
with
to
all
Tom.
building codes and
Right.
you want to see a vote on it, yeah, so.
right, that's what we typically would.
Huh.
I mean, if you grant a building permit based on that being compliant to code, we're covered.
If the board approved this pending the apartment not exceeding the 800 square feet, if I had a question on that submission and my interpretation of the proposal was in excess of 800 square feet, I would have the applicant come back prior to issuing a permit.
So we can make the 800 square feet a specific
A
condition
specific.
of this.
Which is what the code says.
Part of the approval, yeah.
Mhm.
What about, let me just jump a whole nother topic here. What about septic? We're adding 2 bedrooms here. Is there Board of Health issues related to this?
My understanding is that the existing septic system can handle it. There's a very large system on the front of the property, but certainly it'll have to be reviewed by Westchester Health to make sure, once again, to meet the requirements of a building permit.
Right. How many bedrooms are in the primary structure?
I'm sorry. What's this? Wait a minute. I'm sorry, just bear with me. It's a lot of information for the class.
Okay,
Can I please use the table for a second?
Yeah, come on.
good.
Remember. There are 4 bedrooms present.
Okay. So we're talking 4 plus 2 in the accessory. So yeah, because it's not based on bathrooms, it's based on bedrooms. So, yeah, so, okay, so we're 6 bedrooms.
Oh, no, sorry, there are 5. There's another one. Guest on the first one.
Okay, so,
So there's 5 and 2.
so 7 altogether. Okay. So
Okay.
just be aware you have to meet septic issues and Board of Health.
Yes, of course.
All that kind of good stuff. So, yeah.
And this accessory apartment is proposed to have 2 bedrooms?
Yes.
Plan shows 2 bedrooms.
I mean, the code does say that the accessory apartment shall contain not more than 1.
Oh, does it indicate that?
I'll see.
It does.
It-
170-70E.
I didn't even think about that.
It does, and the code also says that the board can approve a second bedroom if they feel it does not overburden the property.
Or the septic tank.
Well, he's not gonna get a permit until the health department reviews and approves the application.
So if we approve this application subject to all provisions of the zoning code, then you'd have to make this a 1-bedroom or come back to us and ask for a variance for 2.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so just to be clear, the special exception permit would be conditioned upon not exceeding 800 square feet and not exceeding 1 bedroom.
Yes.
Right, whatever the code says, yep. Okay. Okay, maybe what we should do is, let's put this out to the public and see if anybody wishes to comment in regard to this application. Once again, someone can call in, and speak to us online using one of the phone numbers in the white box and then entering the Zoom meeting ID number. Is there anybody here in the audience that wishes to speak in regard to this application? Okay, we have a gentleman who does wish to speak. Yeah. Could you just come up to the microphone? Please give us your name and address.
Oh, hi there. I'm Charles Licurdo. I live at 2540 Mohansick Creek Road.
How close are you to the property?
I'm down through the easement, basically.
Oh,
So,
you're down the easement driveway.
yeah,
Okay,
was originally just one house at the top of the hill. They put an easement through and they built 3 houses at the bottom.
Okay.
So I'm in,
So you drive past this every day?
yes,
Okay.
yeah, and it's been fine. The only thing I worry about
Mhm.
is it becoming a rental in the future. So if it becomes an accessory apartment, I love the carriage house and I'd love to see it renovated.
Mhm.
I think it would be great to make it, a nice apartment for family and friends when they come and visit. I worry in the future when renters possibly come in, it's very congested at the top of the hill. So the easement coming into the off of Route 35, that easement, is kind of narrow. So I would just wonder, it would worry that if renters start putting their cars everywhere.
If this was approved as an accessory apartment, it could be used for a family member. It could be used for friends coming over, could be used as a rental.
Right.
I have to tell you that,
Yeah.
Now, if we do grant the special exception use permit, it is a permit for 7 years. And after the 7-year period, they'd have to come back for renewal. And you can look at the code, there are requirements, in what they have to fulfill as far as the accessory apartment goes. For example, it can't be more than 800 square feet. So it's not like you're building a 2 or 3,000 square foot accessory apartment, which would almost be another structure.
No,
And yeah,
it
so, it's,
would be a nice, apartment.
Yeah. but it could be a rental to anyone, basically.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So that's,
Something then there's really nothing that can change any of that.
yeah, so, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Our history in Somers has been, that, there's a number of these accessory apartments that are in dwellings and accessory buildings and things like that. And, I can tell you in general, we haven't had a lot of complaints. One of the things I always ask upon renewal of the accessory apartment, have there been complaints to the building inspector or the town about noise or nonsense or problems? And there really hasn't been.
Okay.
So I have to say overall, it's been good. Still, we have code requirements, whether we agree or disagree, we have to follow the code, the law. And generally in existing structures built before 1992, they can get the accessory apartment.
Okay.
Meeting all the, required provisions.
Perfect. Yeah.
There's always exceptions but
Okay. I just thought I would mention it.
okay.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak in regard to this application? Online or otherwise? No? Okay, we'll close down public comment then. Any
Go ahead.
any further questions for the applicant here?
Yeah, so where would parking be for the accessory apartment?
Well, we're actually requesting in a separate variance, we were requesting additional garage. So we would like to keep most of the parking internal.
So when we get to that, so how many total cars will that garage now hold?
It will hold 4.
It will, when
Not-
it's done, when it's
not-
done.
Not the most comfortable garage, but it'll hold 4, yeah.
Okay. But I assume, yeah, it'll hold 4, but if this ever became a rental apartment, you probably couldn't put 4 in it because,
Well, presently he puts 2 in the existing, even though it's very tight. He said he scrapes his mirror occasionally, but he can't squeeze them in. He's seeking to have one that he can put like an SUV or something in. The other one's small, like a sports car size. Presently, occasionally he parks his cars in the traffic circle in front of the house. I mean, it is a large piece of property.
right.
So, and with the 1-bedroom apartment, you're not gonna have a lot of cars probably, especially if it's, I don't think parking is gonna be an issue given the size of the driveway.
Well, what I'm saying is if the garages are used by the primary residence, I'm assuming it wouldn't be practical for a potential tenant to use the garage as well.
Well,
It's not 4 wide.
well, presently he's put
So-
2 cars into that old section tightly, so it'll at least handle 1 very comfortably. If we get the variance for the other one and use the existing shed as a garage, you still have 3. If we don't get the variance for the additional garage, he can park on the side of it as he does now. It's just gravel. So there's no, there's not a shortage of parking off the driveway where it's going to be any kind of burden.
So for this carriage house, you're going to be requesting an accessory apartment.
Mhm.
You're requesting a deck off the accessory apartment.
Right,
Okay, we haven't really gotten to that part of the.
correct.
And then you're proposing a 1-story addition. Is that the 1-story addition is more garage space? Is that what we're
Yes.
talking about here?
Yes,
That's what we're talking about. Now, right to this, well, I'm gonna say south, I don't know if it's actually south, but right below the proposed one-story addition, I see a gray area. What is that gray area? Is that asphalt? That's gonna be additional driveway added to have better access into the garages. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Into the new garage, yeah.
Okay. Now, that new asphalt area will lead to 2 garage spaces?
There's an existing small garage that, if you look in the plan, there's a very small garage and then
Yep.
new one car garage next to it.
And then the proposed one-story addition, which will be the other garage.
Yes,
And then the current asphalt driveway gives you access to the other 2 garages.
correct.
Right, okay, so we got 4 altogether. Okay, I'm just trying to visualize how this is.
Yeah, as I said, one of the garages was very small, be a sports car sized garage.
Right. Okay, and as we discussed, that big garage door that faces Mohansick Creek Road,
It's,
just for show.
it goes nowhere.
Okay, you're faking me out with that. That's why. Okay,
If you look at it from inside, you see
right,
the garage, then it goes up with like a ledge, like 4 feet high, and then it goes to the door, so they're absolutely worthless. They do-
right. You can't use it for anything.
Yeah.
Understand. Okay, I'm just trying to logistically understand this. Okay. Because there's a lot going on in this little area here, so that's why I'm asking about this. Okay.
Would you mind just describing to me, looking at this elevation here, there are 3 garage doors. What's currently existing?
This is existing,
Yeah,
and that's the one where you have to kind of come in and jog into it.
that's a 2-car garage.
That's this one right here.
You can see it from there. You pull in, there's columns and a stair here, so you're really squeezing in. So you can get in, but it's a little.
I see.
Then this one's very undersized. It's more of it's a garage, it's more of a shed, actually.
Mhm.
You can fit a Jeep or like you said, a Miata or something like that. You're not gonna fit an SUV.
A smaller car. Yep.
You're not gonna 14.
And then this is the new area that you're building for a regular sized car.
Yeah, this is only about the wide. It's a normal garage. You should be able to turn in and get out and open your doors, which you can't do right now.
Okay.
So in terms of the elevation, this is.
This is the new addition right here. That's the new addition. That's the existing little garage.
Right.
And then this is the other 2. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we got it.
All right. Okay, so maybe first we should vote on the special exception use permit for the accessory apartment. And then we can decide on the other matters as we go along.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion. Oh, you want an action?
Yes,
Yeah, type 2,
you have a motion as the type of action?
type 2.
Second.
Ms. DiPolito,
Aye.
Mr. Hardin,
Aye,
Mr. Newman,
Aye.
I'm sorry, Chairman Canestra.
Aye. Can we have a
Thank you.
motion whether we're going to grant the special exception use permit?
I'll make a motion to grant a special exception use permit for an accessory apartment, provided that the apartment meet the requirement that it be 800 square feet or less and no more than 1 bedroom,
And all of the provisions of the code, right? Whatever.
and all other relevant provisions of the code for accessory apartments.
I'll second that.
Sorry, still writing. Thank you. Ms. DiPolito,
Aye.
Mr. Hardin,
Aye,
Mr. Newman,
Aye.
Chairman Canestra.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, congratulations, sir. Your first application has been granted,
Thank you very much.
subject to the provisions indicated. Let's go to the next item on the agenda. This is also a Rudolph 10 Pow. This is an application for a variance to construct a deck to an existing carriage house to an existing dwelling in an R80 residential district at 2546 Hansa Creek Road, Amawalk. So, sir, could you please describe this application? I assume this application would not be here had we not approved the first application.
Correct.
Okay.
This is simply a raised deck to allow the person occupying the accessory apartment to have some outdoors as they're elevated on the 2nd floor. And it's surrounded by the street on one side, the driveway on the other. There's really no other space to get any kind of fresh air or enjoy the outside.
And that was on the floor plan that we had looked at previously.
Yes,
I think that's up here.
That is right there.
It's right there.
Yep.
right? Okay.
That's the proposed, so this is the proposed deck. solely for the use of the accessory apartment.
Correct.
Right.
And Tom, the deck is not part of the square footage of the accessory apartment because it's outside. That does not,
That's my interpretation.
Yes.
yeah, because I think decks, patios don't add to square footage requirements. Okay. And why is this application before us? What is the variance that the applicant is seeking here?
It is front yard and side yard. Because the property line, it's at an angle. So.
Yeah.
That's oftentimes where the deck would be.
Oh, I see. So you're infringing upon the front yard
And the side,
and side yard setbacks.
correct. But once again, it is just a raised deck. There's no roof, there's no foundation, it's just a deck.
I'm looking at some of these measurements here. I have the 15.9 feet that goes to the two-story frame garage. But I don't see a measurement for the proposed deck.
There were several different plans floating around. We consolidated into one.
Okay.
It's an interesting application because normally you take the front yard to the front of the garage. In this case, we're looking at the front yard to the deck. If that becomes part of the structure, it could be interpreted to say that that's just beyond the front setback is 15.9. So it's just the fact that we're looking at the deck separately brings it into that situation where it requires a variance. I think it's a matter of interpretation. Different boards would look at it differently.
I mean, the existing carriage house is only 15.9 feet from the front yard.
From the,
Yeah, where 40 is required, and the deck, it looks like
It's 20.
23.6 off of the property line where
Correct.
40 is required. So a variance, it's not as close, shall we say, as the carriage house, but it is still within the setback area.
Correct. But it's, it's, in terms of magnitude, it is, quite a bit further back.
It's a violation, but less violating.
Correct.
Okay.
It's a matter of degree.
Yeah. All right. And then we have a side yard, same type of actual issue here. Okay. Actual. Okay. You're proposing.
The side yard is 12 or 15 is required.
Yep.
It's a 3-foot variance.
Right. 12.
is that the property line that I see running down there at 104.6?
Yes, it is.
So that's the property line. So the proposed one-story addition, which we've already satisfied on, runs very close to the property,
Correct.
like 0.9, what is that?
It's 0.9 feet.
0.9 feet?
Yes.
My goodness.
Okay. We're not looking at that yet, but that's certainly. Yeah. Okay. So for this just to be clear, the proposed deck, you're looking for a variance of 16.4 feet from the front property line setback.
Right.
And then the side yard, you're looking for a 3-foot variance. And then we also have a variance here of site coverage. I didn't know we had a site coverage issue, but relief is 2.9%, very small.
Yes.
Do we have a site coverage issue here? Yes, we do.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the next two items.
Because it seems to be a part of this app,
Well, it's a part of all three other than the use because the lot already is over on coverage.
Right.
The lot is already at 17.7 where 15 is required.
And it's not feasible to make the size of the deck smaller to not need a variance?
We would change the variance slightly for the coverage. It would not change the variance for the side, for the front or the side. We still need variances for that. And the thing is, it's difficult to look at this as one item because all three applications, other than special permit, have tie into the lot coverage.
So that lot coverage variance covers everything proposed here, not just this item.
No, it covers their individual.
No, it covers
This covers it. So this, you're just
not
saying,
this.
you're saying just this deck is giving a 2.9% variance for, or giving a 2.9% overage for site coverage. Just the deck. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, but the existing is already 17.7.
Right.
Or for the lot.
Right. It's existing non-conforming, right?
Right.
Because we got a lot of things going on
There's a lot going on in this there.
on this property. Yes. I see that.
It's the sum of the parts. If we take all the variances together, the coverage is going to be. Yeah, if we take the site coverage of all the proposed variances we're requesting, total is 19.1. That would be the garage, the addition to the house, and the deck.
Is it possible for us to hear? Do we have to vote on each one before we move to the next?
Don't
Well,
have to.
They don't have, you don't have to, but they seem to make it the way they are.
I mean, I'd like to understand the bigger picture. I mean, understanding the bigger picture might,
Might change our opinion on this.
Right, looking at these piece by piece sort of downplays a complete renovation.
I think you're right.
but we're okay we don't need to vote on an item before we move to the next.
I mean, same applicant. I think if the board decides that we want to look at two of these items or three of them at the same time, I don't know why we can't. You know, I think they are all intertwined, especially since they're right next to each other.
Okay, so I think we understand what they'd like to do with the deck. Could we
Okay, well, yeah, maybe,
talk about the,
okay, let's go then. So we're gonna also take a look at item 6 on the agenda. This is an application for a variance to construct a garage addition to an existing carriage house to an existing dwelling in an R80 residential district at 250 46 Mohanza Creek Road, Amawalk. Sir, maybe it's a good time now for you to explain this one-story addition
Okay.
and why you feel it's necessary, especially because it's 100% in the setback area and very close to the property line.
Right. Well, as I said, the main reason for it is to provide one decent usable garage. And accommodate Mr. Tenpow's use and also the tenant. I mean, he's been parking outside, for years, and he just wanted to had the ability to park inside, keep the cars indoors. I think, given the neighborhood, it would be nice to have the cars hidden rather than being outside. Not a requirement, but it would be a positive thing for the neighbors.
Who is the property owner on that side? Is it another residential building?
Yes, it's part of a second part of the subdivision, I believe.
if you want to look here,
Yeah, if I can just see who's there next door.
What do you got there?
so this is the house, his property, this lot goes all the way to Route 35, so it's kind of a wooded area
And he comes
here.
off the right-of-way driveway.
There's a separate driveway, I believe.
So that these additions would be in this, the deck and the addition would be in this area here.
You're very close to your neighbor's property line there.
Close to the property line, but not close to the house.
Right. Right.
And then there's a drop off and it's wooded on that side.
I see to the other side of your property, now or formerly County of Westchester. What's going on that property?
I believe that's part of, Tom?
Waterworks.
Waterworks, yeah.
Right.
Reservoir.
Oh, is that what it is over there?
Yeah, it drops off. If you look back where the pool is, it drops off down to the reservoir.
Okay. I see to the north of that, or top of the map, it's now or formerly City of New York. City of New York. Yeah. Okay, so they're both involved there. Okay.
Do we have a number? Okay, so again, a lot of, when we talked about the accessory apartment, talked a lot about this. Adding this item where we're adding the one-story addition to the carriage.
Right.
So I think I understand that as well.
Well, there's no, well, we approved the accessory apartment in the existing carriage house. And now he's asking for, so he's not really increasing the carriage house except for the deck and the proposed one-story addition, right? The
Correct.
carriage house isn't changing otherwise.
Correct.
Okay. I mean, I think the biggest concern with the one-story addition, which is the garage, is its proximity to, I mean, it's less than a foot from the property line.
Well, I say it's on the property line
Yeah, it's pretty.
for all practical purposes.
The issue is there's no other place to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but don't forget, when we look at the totality of the lot coverage issue, that's gonna be a problem as well.
Right, right. I just don't know if the neighbor there is gonna balk. I don't know that the neighbor would like that much building that close to the property line.
Well, the neighbor, they were notified. There's been no one's been informed of any problem. 3 of the neighbors spoke to Mr. Tenpow and they said they were in favor. There were people that were behind behind the house, away from the road. The neighbor to the side, I don't know, but like I said, he hasn't appeared or written a letter or done anything.
I mean, there are only 3 houses. So if he heard from
Well, no,
3 of them,
It's from behind, not to the side.
Right.
I'm sorry, one was across the street, 2 were behind his house,
right?
but not the one on the side.
Well, the one across the street is the property he'd be abutting. With that,
No, across Mahansick Creek Road. It's one house across Mahansick Creek Road and 2 houses that is served by the right of way. The house to the side, adjacent to the garage, we have not heard from.
okay.
How close is his nearest dwelling? In other words, you're almost on a line there, but we don't know where the other property comes in.
Yeah, Bill, Tom has a pretty good spot there. You could,
Yeah,
if you look.
I can
at-
see from there, Tom.
Yeah, if you look at the, so this is the carriage house area, right?
Where, get your finger down.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, that's it.
That's
the
it.
house is here.
Right.
And the house is there. So,
Yep.
so we can see the property next to it, right? On your map?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the lot next to
Right.
it. That's the house.
Right.
It's abutting this person's property, but up here by the road.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
And he uses this access driveway to get to his
right,
house.
yeah.
Yeah.
Odd.
I just wanted to point out that because the right of way serves the houses behind it, one of the reasons for the larger lot coverage number existing is that driveway. That would not be there if it weren't for the right of way.
Right.
That does not
Oh, but if you
benefit.
didn't have the right of way, you wouldn't have the houses.
Correct, but what I'm saying is that driveway does not directly benefit Mr. Tenenbaum. The reason he's over on coverage is mostly that driveway.
Oh, I see.
I mean, he bought the house like this. He didn't, it's not a self-imposed condition.
Right.
Well, yeah. You bought a house with a high lot coverage.
Yeah, we often don't see a proposal of an addition completely in a setback area this close to the property line.
No.
Normally, we don't see that.
If it weren't for the right of way, we'd put it on the other side, but he's locked in there.
Unless he attached a garage to the primary residence as opposed to the carriage house.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he could. It wouldn't be the best situation given the grading and given the aesthetics of the property, the way you approach it with the circular drive. It's a very attractive old house. And placing a 1-car garage, not even 2-car, would be kind of detrimental to the carriage house. Being a carriage house lends itself to the whole mini estate feeling of what's been there for many years.
And there's no way to renovate the current carriage house to make more usable space for the 2 cars?
No, it's already maxed out underneath. Like I said, the first 8 feet or so from the Mahansick Creek Road are raised up. It's a ledge or something in there. And then there's the existing 2-car garage, which is barely a 2-car garage. Anything you did to renovate you'd almost have to go to the side of your blocking the existing garage. Because of the grade, you can't enter from the driveway side. So the only safe way to do it is, and because with the grade, is to do it from behind as we're doing it. But the doors, I think, were reversed in the first place. but we purposely kept the roof line as low as possible. We have minimal impact on the neighbor. And tried to make it match in with the existing building as much as possible.
That's the neighbor we haven't heard from.
Yeah. Like I said, I've been involved with this property for 20 years. I did a renovation for the previous owner. And we took great time to maintain the integrity of the existing house.
All right, so there are three additions here. We have the deck, the carriage house addition,
The one-story addition,
And-
to the garage, right?
right, and then the addition to the primary residence, which we haven't got to yet.
Okay, why don't we talk about that briefly? Because it's in a different area, but maybe it's talking about.
Yeah. The addition to the primary residence is simply a bathroom and sauna on the lowest level. And that is to act basically as a bathroom on the lower level and to take the place of a possible, place of a pool house, which they did not want to do. So it allows them to use it as a pool cabana and a bathroom for this first floor, or the basement level, which consists of basically a home theater and a kind of a family room.
And this says proposed deck
Deck
over
over
finished
finished
basement.
basement. So you're
Right.
talking about the finished basement.
It's a basement level, which is what was partial walkout, would be the bathroom and sauna, and the deck is above it. So essentially it's a flat roof with a walkout deck from the first floor.
Of this dwelling.
Yes,
Mhm.
And
So-
why do you need a variance for this?
only lot coverage.
I was gonna say,
Because the property is currently non-conforming, anything we do requires a variance for lot coverage.
Okay.
so lot coverage is the issue here.
Correct.
Okay, only, because I was gonna say, certainly not in the setback area.
Right. And if all variances were granted, the lot coverage would be 19,
Okay.
where 15 is allowed and 17.7 is existing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost a 2-acre lot. It's a big lot.
Right. I mean, I have less problems with the proposed deck and items underneath it as attached to the main structure. I guess there's more of a concern just with this garage.
Well, the reason that I brought that up, right? So is that we've got three separate, yeah, 3.9 in terms of lot coverage, right? Looks like there's 3.95%, 2.9%, and 2.8%. I was trying to just get to the overall number.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at about, 10%, 9 to 10%. We're already over a few percent on lot coverage. This is going to be another 10% increase to lot, 9 to 10%. I want to.
It's actually, there's some overlap on that. It's not, it doesn't all total up. I think it's a total is 19.1 if we do it all. It's just the way the numbers work because you're adding and subtracting driveway and other pieces as you piece it in. We went through this quite a few times with Tom before we submitted it.
Are you comfortable? So 19.1, Tom, I can
With
rely on.
all of the proposed improvements? Yes.
And the lot coverage also includes this new asphalt in
Asphalt.
front of the proposed one-story addition.
Yes.
Because remember, if the one-story addition to the carriage house isn't added, then the related driveway would not have to be added also.
Correct. The piece of the driveway to that little garage would still need to be added because it's not used it presently. It's a garage.
Right.
So it's a variance for 4.1% increase in lot coverage.
Yes.
Wouldn't that affect both building coverage and site coverage
The,
in some way?
you have the definitions with you?
I don't, but I can open it up if you back.
There's an exclusion in one of them.
Yeah. Okay, I have the code here. So we're looking for definitions.
Yeah, building coverage and site coverage.
Well, no, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
again, I just need to get those two numbers. So I think, and you've only provided, I believe you've only provided site coverage.
Well, lot coverage is existing, is required 7%, 5%, and if everything is approved, 5.6.
Which one is that?
Of building coverage, maximum building coverage.
Okay, so you need 5.6 on building.
Yes.
And what about site?
The building coverage is percentage of the lot area covered by the combined area of all buildings and or impervious structures on the lot, excluding pools, carports, and sheds. And what was the other thing? The lot
The site.
site coverage, I'm sorry. That percentage of the site area covered by the combined area of all building structures and impervious surfaces, including impervious driveways, pools, carports, patios, and walkways.
So they're different. They're two different calculations.
Two different calculations, yeah.
So I'm just trying to get the percentage of each.
Well, as you said, the existing building coverage is 5%, proposed is 5.6. Site coverage is 17.7, proposed 19.1.
So
We can provide a breakdown to the building department if required.
well, those are very small changes, but we're still back talking about the proposed one building being basically on the property line.
Right. Yeah, it's a separate issue. I just wanted to, as we look at this, I was just trying to get those numbers.
I mean, if I add up the lot coverage variance requested for each one of them, I get 9.68% additional.
Well,
There were some overlaps
Okay.
because we're doing them separately.
Okay.
And once again, like I said, we can provide a breakdown.
Okay.
The
All right. Yeah, I mean, even the lot coverage issue to me is secondary. To me, the biggest thing is approving the addition completely in the setback.
I mean, to put it in perspective, with an 80,000 square foot lot, 100 square feet is 00125 on coverage. So it's just a big lot.
Yeah.
But also has a lot going on with the pool and, with the pool and everything.
Maybe we should open this up to public comment, all three applications, if anybody has any questions in regard to them,
Sure.
to see if anybody wishes to speak. Once again, let's go online. Anybody wishes to speak in regard to any of these three applications that are pending for Mr. Tenpow? Now is the time to speak. Is anybody here in the audience wish to speak in regard to this application?
How many audience?
Yeah, there's one gentleman in the back. Yeah.
Oh, there
No.
is.
No. Okay. All right, we'll just. All right, so while we're waiting to see if anybody calls in, so what do the other board members think about these requests? I think I'll start. I think as I indicated, the addition to the house, to the main structure, probably don't have much of a problem.
No.
Maybe even the proposed deck, I don't have much of a problem. The lot coverage is an issue. My biggest quandary, which I'm looking maybe for some opinion from the other board members, is the one-story garage addition that close to the property line, completely in the setback area. And technically, that small proposed deck off the carriage house is also completely in the setback area. I don't know. Melissa, what do you think about this application?
There's certainly a lot here, but I agree. I think the main house is not where I see the focus areas. I think the house and the property can sort of
Yeah.
substantiate the changes that are being requested. It's the carriage house that to me feels like complete renovation and just the expansion of the size being on the lot line, looking at those factors, I see this as a hardship that could be avoided. There could be other alternatives or less of a substantial request than we're being asked to give tonight.
So you certainly have an issue with the one-story garage. What about the proposed deck off the carriage house? Do you have an issue with that also, or not as much?
I do. I mean, we're still being asked to give a variance for the yard setbacks. So I think in totality, I'm inclined to probably not grant the applications with respect to the carriage house
In regard to the deck and the one-story addition?
for the garage.
Yep, for the garage, yep.
Hmm.
What do you think?
You
Tom?
had that one-story storage there. Is that the little garage that you're having trouble?
Yes, that's the little
Putting
garage. he's
cars
talking about.
in?
Yeah, that's for the mini car that would go in there.
And
That's an existing shed. It's already there.
yeah, and you don't want to eliminate that.
No, we want to use that as a garage. It's right now as a shed,
That's
I
that's
see.
existing.
but it's there. We're not changing it. You just put a door on it.
Mhm.
I'm generally along those same lines. I'm generally along the same thinking as Melissa. And then just, and also still try, yeah, I guess not as concerned about the coverage issues, although a little bit, right? We did just increase those. And it's still, the existing is still over and going further beyond. But I don't see how we could approve that close to the line.
Yeah, I mean, when we grant variances, they're supposed to be the minimum necessary. And is there an alternative? And, is there another way for the applicant to solve the problem, and are they at a minimum? I'm not sure that these are. I don't know. What do you think about this, Bill?
No, as I was saying, I'm hung up on this proposed one-story addition. It bothers me that we're putting it on the property line, basically. I don't feel as concerned by the proposed deck in the background, but it's that one-story addition that's sort of plunked down there right on the property line that bothers me, and I share Melissa's concern about that, so.
Yeah.
I probably would not favor approving a variance for the one-story addition.
Right. What about the proposed deck, carriage house?
Well, if I don't allow the one-story addition, I guess I don't need the proposed deck, really. That's just,
Well, yeah, they want the proposed deck, not so much for the addition, the one-story addition for the garage. They're looking at the approved accessory apartment, which we approved.
yeah, I guess I'd let the proposed deck be what it is. And as far as the main house goes, I don't have a problem with that at all, so.
Yeah. Just the applicant, I just want to make you aware, this is a 7-member board. We've only got 4 members in attendance. In order to approve or deny, you need 4 votes. So 1 voting no, it will be the application. would be
Right,
denied.
right, basically, yeah.
Could I ask for a 5-minute recess to call Mr. Tenpau and just to see what he wants to do?
Sure.
Thank
If
you.
you'd like, go ahead.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Have we heard from the applicant that we skipped?
Oh,
No, I don't think so.
I haven't seen anybody.
Denise, did we hear anything from the
No, we
one
did,
we skipped in the first place?
no, we did not.
Okay,
We didn't hear from Mr. Paul, and Paul, I've been looking at my emails. I hope he's okay. Cause he told me last week he would definitely be here tonight.
Okay. Yeah, and
Well, he-
overseas
he
Zoom,
was-
I don't know how easily that works or not.
he was guessing about his health. He was
Well-
speculating on his.
Yeah, I just muted Mr.
Or guessing.
Tempow.
I mean, this is this could have been presented, I guess, in a way.
Well, I don't want it to look like I'm cherry picking the guy's proposals, but I guess he broke them up for some reason or other.
But even if he put it in one proposal and had 3 items, we can approve some and deny others,
Right.
you know? So I just, yeah, I mean,
So for for the deck, it's front and side yard setback
Mm-hmm,
as well as as well as coverage.
mm-hmm.
For the addition, same. So they need three variances, right?
Well, at least.
Coverage, front
and
front
side.
yard and side yard.
Yeah, 2 for each proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
3,
and then the right 3,
Hmm.
and then the
Okay.
house is just 1 variance for.
correct.
I think we're in agreement that for the house, I don't think there's much concern there.
No, I think we could approve that, but.
I think the biggest concern is the 1-story garage addition.
Condition.
And then maybe the proposed deck is also a little gray because it's a deck, I guess but it's still completely in the setback area.
Yeah, and that's something rare. We don't usually approve that.
Yeah. So.
So,
Of course, we can only vote on the application before us here, so.
well, right, but if it comes down to.
You know, I don't know if the applicant has another way to solve this problem. If they're for garage space, maybe they have to think of a garage in someplace else.
Right.
Okay, so you're rejoining us? Yes.
Yes.
Hi.
Okay, what I'm gonna request is, I think we'd ask that you vote on the addition to the house, and we ask for continuance for the deck and the garage in order to reassess the design and come back to you with an alternative.
Comfortable with that. Sounds reasonable, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Does
keep it
that,
very
just,
reasonable.
Tom, can the applications for the garage addition and the deck be rollovers?
They're separate applications.
Or do they have to be new applications?
Well, if they substantially changed, I think it has to be a new application and a
Right.
new notice.
Right,
'Cause if we approve something significantly different from what has been proposed to us, then I don't think the public has had fair chance to evaluate,
Right.
look at it, you know?
yeah, that's my point. I think Jonathan and Audrey, I think they're gonna have to be new applications.
Well, so then would it be cleaner just to vote
I think we should just vote on it.
on those two?
We vote yay or nay and
And then they
and the
could
applicant
resubmit.
can come back with another plan for something else.
Again, that's where,
Well, he wanted to
You
get
vote-
approval on the main house, though.
Well, we could vote on that because just,
I think we can vote on that.
Yeah, you probably should
thing.
vote on all 4 or
Yep.
the 3 that are left.
Yep.
And then if in fact the garage addition and the deck are denied, then we can hear a new application when they're ready to present one.
Sounds good.
just, remembering that you can't ask for the same thing twice.
yes, if you come back with,
So,
you won't be allowed to come back and ask for the exact same thing.
Well, the exact same thing, no, but something modified or,
Yeah,
right.
You know, I think you've gotten the feel for the board and how we feel about this and,
Absolutely.
you know, once again, I had some very different applications tonight and that we normally don't see an application for construction completely in the setback area, we try to grant the smallest variance possible. If there's another way to solve the problem without a variance, that's of course what we prefer and what the code prefers. I'm sure you're aware of that.
It's just a limited site, even though it's very large, it's very limited.
Yeah. So, and I realize by topography and all other kinds of things, sometimes you are limited in what you can do, but sometimes you just can't get everything you want, even with, with that. No. Okay. So let's just go down the line. I think we've already put this out to the public. Any further comments before we vote on this from any board members? Nope. Okay.
No.
So we're gonna vote on the 2 items separately. First, we're gonna vote on, I'm gonna take them in order. We're gonna vote on the deck to the carriage house. Then we're going to vote on the garage addition to the carriage house, and then we're going to vote on the addition to the existing house. All right, so in regard to item 5, this is an application for a variance to construct a deck to an existing carriage house, existing dwelling in an R80 residential district at 2546 Mohansick Creek Road, Amawalk. Do I have a motion for the type of action?
Type 2.
Second.
Ms. DiPolito,
Aye.
Mr. Hardin,
Aye.
Mr. Newman,
Aye.
Chairman Canestra.
Aye.
Thank you.
Can we have a motion whether we are going to grant the variance to construct a deck to the existing carriage house?
I'll make a motion to deny the application for a deck to the existing carriage house.
I'll second that.
Ms. DiPolito,
Aye.
Mr. Hardin,
Aye.
Mr. Newman,
Aye.
Chairman Canestra.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, item 5 on the agenda has been denied. We're going to go to item 6, application for a variance to construct a garage addition to an existing carriage house to an dwelling in an R80 residential district at 2546 Mohansick Creek Road, Amawalk. Can we have a motion as to the type of action?
Type 2.
Second.
Second.
Ms. DiPolito,
Aye.
Mr. Hardin,
Aye.
Mr. Newman,
Aye.
Mr. Chairman Canestra.
Aye. Can we have a motion as to whether we're going to grant the variance to construct a garage addition to the existing carriage house?
I'll make a motion to deny the application.
I'll second it.
Second.
Both of us.
Ms. DiPolito,
Aye.
Mr. Hardin,
Aye.
Mr. Newman,
Aye.
Chairman Canestra.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item 6 has been denied. We're going to go to the final item on the agenda this evening. This is the application for a variance to construct an addition to an existing house, to an existing dwelling in an R80 residential district at 2546 Mohansick Creek Road, Amawalk. We have a motion as to type of action.
Type 2.
Second.
Ms. DiPolito,
Aye.
Mr. Hardin,
Aye.
Mr. Newman,
Aye.
Chairman Canestra.
Aye.
Thank you.
Keep in mind, this variance is only for site coverage. Do we have a motion as to whether we're going to grant the variance to construct the addition to the existing home?
I move we grant the variance to the existing home.
Do we need to give a specific percentage on that?
I don't.
I would just say as submitted.
Right, as submitted. Okay,
As submitted.
that's fine.
As submitted.
I'll second.
Ms. DiPolito,
Aye.
Mr. Hardin,
Aye.
Mr. Newman,
Aye.
and Chairman Canestra.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item 7 has been approved.
Thank you very much.
Okay. And you probably want to take your plans with you? Yes, they're all yours. All right, thank you very much. Then the next item on the agenda this evening is approval of the meeting minutes from our last meeting was October 27th. I'll just wait for the applicant. Previous applicant. Get the plans.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Good night.
Audrey, I'll email you about upcoming meeting dates and deadlines.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay. So next item on the agenda is for us to approve the meeting minutes of the October 17, 2023 meeting. You may recall we did not have a meeting in November. Any comments on the minutes related to the meeting? The only thing I was looking at is in the final matter, This was for the approval of the storage facility. It said, Mr. Lansky made a motion to grant a north side and south side yard vegetation buffer variance not to exceed 40 feet. And
I
to
took
follow-
that verbatim from what he emailed me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, not to exceed, because wasn't it supposed to be?
Wasn't it supposed to be 50?
Yeah, I thought it was a different number for some reason, and I thought whatever could fit in there should be what should be worded. Meaning that if between the parking lot and the curb was only 10 feet, they would do
Yeah.
10. But if they had space for 20, that'd do 20.
I think the way it was worded, right? So what Bart was saying was, 50 feet is required. They have 10 all the way.
Right,
So we gave them a variance of 40 unless,
no, we
Oh.
gave him a variance
Not to exceed-
up to 40,
Okay,
right? And it had to, or the curb,
Right,
the parking lot curb. So it was up to 40. So that's where I think that's what he means when he says not to exceed 40. Because it would have to be much less. The variance would be less anywhere they were able. So I don't know if, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just describing.
yeah, and I'm not sure that it's clear that if they have 30, 40 feet, they're supposed to fill that in. Variance not to exceed 40, but they should be taking up the whole area between the curb and the parking lot.
I think that was understood. Because
every-
they kept talking about they would fill in with vegetation.
And I'm
That-
sure they will. They
Yeah,
do
I-
do that.
I assumed they were gonna do that.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But that was his motion, and that's what he emailed me.
Well, let's leave it the way it is, see how they develop it.
Do you think it's clear enough?
I think it's clear enough, yeah.
I mean, and to follow the edge of the curb. I mean, that could be a little.
And not only
it
clear
could-
enough, they're trapped into it.
Well-
They're gonna get what they can get from the construction they're gonna do. He's saying not to exceed 40. Well, it doesn't really matter about exceeding. So don't
Yes, I
think
guess by Bart saying to follow the edge of the curb. It
Right, you
means that
gotta
he's
follow
gonna
the
fill,
edge of
he's
the
gonna, he's
curb.
gonna fill in the area between the
Yeah.
parking lot and the curb. Is that what
Right.
it's implying?
Right.
It's a little vague to me, but maybe I'm just reading it that way.
I mean, we don't have to approve these tonight. If you want to go back to Bart and. try to-
Well, so the resolutions were already done
Oh,
and signed
that's what we
and
voted on.
submitted.
That's what we.
It's
And
done.
Rick DiNardo's attorney has the resolution,
And it
As-
follows this language?
as does Rick DiNardo. Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
really, that's what we voted. So I guess we
Yes.
have to then.
Let's stay with what we voted.
Should there ever be an interpretation required of this, then
We will.
come before us and. we
Yeah.
Right,
Hear it.
we would fill it in. I think everybody was clear on it, and this applicant historically has always been more than willing to put in
Yeah, anything.
lots of shrubbery and plants and
Mhm.
things, so yeah, so I don't really think there'll be an issue. Okay, so any other issues with the minutes? Any other questions, discussions? No? I'm just gonna approve, if okay, by
Fine.
verbal vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Anyone opposed?
No.
Any abstentions? Okay, we're gonna consider the minutes approved. Next meeting is January 16th, 2024. That's the third Tuesday. Denise, I assume that's our
Yep.
agenda for. Yeah,
And we do have somebody already on the agenda for February 20th.
okay, so we know we're gonna have a January and a February meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. And I believe Denise, from our discussions, you're gonna give us a schedule of the entire zoning board.
Yes, I'm gonna send out after the first of the year, a list of the meeting dates. Vic and I had a conversation earlier. We are not going to have a scheduled meeting for June because we always have an issue with the room being used for the assessment board of review on the same night as our meeting. And having a meeting a week in advance, I'm not gonna lie, is a lot of work for me to go only, to have one less week in between to prepare. But I am scheduling an August meeting and, we'll try our best not to have one if we don't need one But this year we had one and everybody but one person was able to attend. So we'll take it from there.
All right. Anything else on the agenda we need to discuss?
Just one thing I'll mention quickly, that not that we need to resolve this now, but just to think about. You know, we've seen, as I mentioned earlier, we've seen on these accessory apartments, we've seen people making applications for permits prior to building the accessory apartment, right? And so, which makes sense from a practical perspective, because they are not going to go and spend thousands of dollars to have an architect draw a plan if
That's what they're,
if they can't even get
It's denied.
authorized to have an accessory apartment at all. So, but we often say, and I know you, it seems like you'd prefer to have the drawing, right? But clearly it's not practical. So I think we should just decide, is it required? Are you required to submit, to get a special exception use permit? Are you required to
Provide a plan.
provide a drawing?
I mean, I could tell you that most of the apartments we approve are renewals.
Right.
So they're already in place and there's a plan. But yeah, anything new,
I mean, I can think of 2 or 3 recently where this was sort of the case.
Yeah.
One tonight, one over that garage. Remember that
Yeah.
one? He kind of had drawings, but kind of didn't. So anyway,
Yeah.
we don't need to resolve it now, but something to think about.
Yeah.
If we're going to require.
Does the
whether-
code, I mean,
I mean,
guess
normally
my-
when.
my question is, who would make that a requirement?
Well, for any variance to anyone's house, for any addition, there's drawings. So
Right.
I don't know why we would treat an accessory different.
I mean, so that's just what Tommy and I need to know moving forward, that they have to have plans for a proposed accessory apartment.
okay, do those plans require an architect's signature? Because now we're adding $1,500 to $2,500 to every application.
Well, I would ask Tommy Tuma that question.
There he is.
They would require a stamp and signature prior to the issuance of a building permit.
They would.
Well,
That's my responsibility.
Okay.
According before,
far as-
for a building permit, yeah. You know, could they do a sketch or a rough out? I don't know.
I don't know. They're gonna come to us, obviously, in a money-saving way of saying, of having a test. Say, okay, look, this is what we're thinking of doing. What do you guys think? That's gonna throw something new to us, because do we wanna approve a hypothetical something before it's even developed?
I mean, I think without a plan, the only way we can approve an accessory apartment is to say, we'll approve the accessory apartment. You have to 100% comply with the code, no exceptions, meaning 800 or less square
Yeah,
feet.
and
Well,
The
then they wouldn't-
minimums, one bedroom.
But then they wouldn't come here.
What do you mean?
If they complied with all the code, they wouldn't come.
Well, they
here.
still need a variance for the accessory.
They still
apartment.
need a permit. Yeah.
They still need a
They
permit.
might. That's true.
They still need the permit.
Special exception use permit.
So
And
is-
Tommy would enforce that it was all being followed.
And maybe we could not approve any variances on an accessory apartment unless they did have complete plans.
Unless it were two-part. You know. people
Right.
Come and then get approval, part 1, and then part 2 would be the actual plan. So that the board can see that there's no deviations from what they approved from a sketch plan.
Right.
Yeah, but that leaves us with twice as much work.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
now we're gonna have a meeting to approve the sketch plan, then we're gonna have a meeting to approve the real plan. I
It
don't,
should be quick, the second one.
You know,
Yeah,
maybe,
but that involves,
maybe these situations, maybe they're rare. We've just had a couple of them in a row, right? I think we
Yeah.
had the,
I don't think they're gonna be rare. I think you're gonna find it more frequent.
yeah. I mean, we did have one person come on the Mancini one. We had them come just to talk to the board, right? They didn't make an application. They just had a unique situation. So they wanted to see what their options were
Right.
before going ahead and drawing up
Yeah, but
plans.
so-
The gentleman tonight could have, done the same thing, I suppose, right?
The Mancini thing was a fiction. They had a
Well,
fictional drawing or something,
yeah.
as I remember. Right?
Yeah, well, that drawing.
That
I mean,
just-
I think-
That
They were
just
close.
wasn't even.
It wasn't even close.
Wasn't even.
I don't know
I
what
think that,
that relate.
I think that we could come up with, I think that we could come up with a policy that is unanimously voted by the board, but I'd hate to see these people have to come back twice.
Right?
You know, I mean, it's an application, it's a lot of work, there's fees involved, there's public notices, there's stamps, there's, I feel like we need to, you know, write up a policy that, you know, becomes part of our, when Tommy and I sit down with these people, but to have it encompass everything that you think you need, but not to make them come back twice. You know, if you like in this case with this last, if you say it cannot exceed 800 square feet, I mean, Tommy's the one that's going to make sure that it doesn't.
Yeah, to me, if we put the qualifier on it, I think we're protected. Like we approve
Right.
that accessory apartment that you're in complete compliance with the code. If he's not in compliance, he's got to come back. Yeah, I think I would prefer not revisiting every accessory apartment twice. If we do 25 a year, now we have 50 meetings
Yeah,
as
no,
opposed to
we don't want
25.
to do that.
All right, so we're saying, so in that case, we would not require a detailed plan of the accessory apartment. We could have a sketch, a description, as the gentleman did tonight, saying that this is the project he wants. Can I get a special exception use permit? If he gets it, obviously he has to build to the code.
Right.
Should he then want to build outside of the code and it's 850 square feet, then he's coming back for a variance. But that, I mean, I'm okay with that. I just, then, you know, we shouldn't ask for full plan. That's the thing. Are we asking for the full plan or not?
But you said earlier, I would be more comfortable if the board had some more details on, you know, the floor plan.
All right.
And-
And Melissa expressed the
elevation
same sentiment.
and
So that,
elevation.
you know,
Would it be, would you consider an electronic distribution prior to the issuance of a building permit for a look at the final plan? Or
we would have already granted the permit at that point.
Yeah.
You will have the permit at that point.
Well, with the special exception use permit would have already been granted by the.
no, I could always kick it back and say that my interpretation of the floor plan was different than what you're proposing, because there's not, it's not detailed, it's not to scale. There could be a fluctuation in the dimension of a bedroom, a utility room.
That puts it outside of the code requirements. In which case you would not issue them a CO because they would need a variance.
Or an issue of a permit.
Not, right, not.
Oh, you wouldn't
give
issue
them
a permit
Yeah.
because they would need a variance first, right?
So Tom, you're working from the actual plans with measurements and
For a
stuff.
building permit, yes.
Yes.
If, okay,
So I think my thinking is you can grant a special exception use permit without seeing the actual detailed,
finished plans.
the architect plans for the unit.
Board can if the board's comfortable with that.
Right, but not everybody's comfortable. So that's all I'm
Right.
trying to, I don't want to prolong tonight's meeting, but
Okay.
I just wanted to throw it out there that it's something we should settle on.
Well, I will
It's
say,
a good discussion topic.
it is, and I think that it needs to be, it needs to be resolved sooner rather than later, because we do have somebody that is going to make the same request. Not a date thing, but they wanna create an accessory apartment. You know, I'd like to start off right, you know, I don't really wanna sit down with people and then we're gonna tell them 2 weeks later, oh, guess what? We have to, you know, stop your application process because, you know, we need plans. I think it could be plans versus stamped and signed plans. Maybe to lessen the expense.
Well, we
know-
always check whether Tom has inspected what's going on, right? I mean, they don't They
Well,
don't
he
do
can't
this
close out
without,
a permit without, if a new person comes like this, Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Tempow,
right.
they come, you approve it. Next step is they have to provide Tommy with signed and sealed plans. And it's got to be built to those plans. And as the inspectors go out, they're not going to close that permit out and issue a CO if it's not what it is supposed to be. I think this is like I don't know, but Melissa brings up a good point too, but I would just like to know because I don't, I don't really want us to sit down with somebody, have a conversation, and then, we say, oh, sorry, you got to have plans. We have had people issue us plans in the
Mhm.
past, and I don't know, maybe we get a pencil sketch on a napkin. A rough idea, but I think that we have to make a decision.
I don't think it's unreasonable to require some type of drawing or sketch. It doesn't have to be a stamped certified drawing, but to have a drawing with a rough sketch of what they are
The
looking
layout.
for with dimensions
Yeah.
so that we can verify square footage should be at least the minimum.
Yeah, but most of the things that we wind up giving variances for require measurements. In all the years I've been sitting here, it's always talking about the sideline or the front line, the back line, some property line
Right.
we're talking about. So you're talking about that, it could be a sketch, but it's got to be a sketch
With the
showing us what you want a variation for. What do you want?
Exactly. No, I think it has to have measurements.
Remember, it might not just be a variance that they're requesting, they could just be requesting the special exception use permit. I mean, most applicants should know if what they're presenting to us is in accordance with the code. It most likely will get approved, yeah,
Right.
I think some type of a rough sketch, I think, Melissa has a good point there. Some type of a sketch with, some, specifications on it, some measurements. I think that would be sufficient, and the applicant's gonna have to get there sooner or later.
And for those that are just coming for a renewal that have plans on file, they don't
Right, they don't
need
need
new
that.
drawings. Tommy's just gonna go out there and verify
Right.
that they haven't made
And
modifications.
in some instances, if it's not new, well, no, I should, like, for example, let's say that there is a house that was built before 1992, and now they want to put an accessory apartment in an existing basement that they already have plans for, right? Maybe I built a
Yeah.
garage and I want to put an apartment on the second level, but I already have plans for those. I think it's when they're starting out, like this proposal tonight, to build a new structure. I think in some cases it might be an easier task for people to provide us than others.
Right. It would only be for new apartments, not renewals.
Right. But a new apartment, and if you want to put an apartment in your basement, you have house plans that include your basement.
Well, right. You'd have the broad dimensions, but you need to draw
Right.
us, here's the kitchen, here's the bed, you
Right.
need to fill in the blanks.
Board can, roll the application over also, and request some additional information.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's another
Hey,
way.
Tommy, is there such a thing of somebody doing, I want to say this is almost similar to what we got for the Reynolds house, that there's a program that somebody could just get online and do that without going to an architect,
Some could,
right?
and not all.
No, but
yeah.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if you're tech savvy enough, you
Mhm.
might be able to come up with something that is,
Yeah, there's some CAD programs that,
Right,
kind of
right.
user friendly
You
for,
mean all those 13, 14-year-olds?
Yeah, right.
they'd be good
Your
at
kid.
it.
I have to have,
There's
I
an
have to
app
have
for that.
my married daughter has to come here and turn on my television for me.
Right.
All right, so we'll make that, starting in January, right, Tom? That they have to have,
Some kind of some kind of a drawing,
Some
with some
drawing.
dimension on
Yep.
it. Yeah, something that looks fairly reasonable.
Okay,
All right,
He
Good
had
idea,
something this
Tom.
evening, just didn't have measurements on it.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, he had a rendering of a floor plan, proposed floor plan.
Yeah, that
Well,
whole
right
thing
off
was a
the
little
bat-
far-fetched tonight. We had a far-fetched night tonight.
Yeah,
Not a good
and
night
when
for us.
somebody
Trying
wants
to keep you
to,
sharp, Bill.
when somebody wants to find out if they could even have an accessory apartment, they meet with Tommy and I. And if
Well, I think
the,
that's
an-
enough.
You could probably give some feedback as to,
Right. And
pie in the
then
sky or reason.
sometimes we say, yeah, I don't think that's gonna really fly, but they wanna go anyway, so that's
Well,
You're
in that
entitled to
case,
do
you
that.
should tell them.
It's their right.
You better come with drawings and
Yeah.
measurements.
Yeah.
Because that's what the board's gonna ask for.
Yep.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I think it's a kind of a case by case, and then in January, I'll be sending letters out to all the people who are up for renewals next year.
okay,
Good.
All right, sorry to belabor that.
all right. Anything else, before I wrap it up? Okay, so, I'll just say last thing, Merry Christmas, Happy
Merry
Holidays.
Christmas, Happy New
Yes,
Year.
Merry
Happy New Year,
Christmas,
and
Happy
we'll-
Holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see everybody, next year then for our next meeting, so. okay?
Yes, all right,
Okay.
thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Happy
Thanks, all right.
holidays.
Good
Good
night.
night, good night, everyone.
Good night.
That's it, Paul, we can wrap up.